On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Nick will rejoin Matt to continue to try and make sense of Empire's 50 greatest Star Wars characters of all time list. Will young Nick be more agreeable with the list, or will he cast shame upon the rankings? Stay tuned to find out. Of course, Matt and Nick will end the show with Question of the Week responses and the latest round of Top 5 Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie. Everybody, welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show. Not the live one, it's the pre-recorded. Doesn't matter. You still got Matt, and now you got Nick. He is back from a little break. He's here to do the finish out Empire's 50 or supposedly 50 greatest Star Wars characters of all time list. Last week on the live, if you haven't checked it out, make sure to catch part one. You got myself sitting here, my happy ass. I went through numbers 50 to 26. So Nick today is going to help me go from 25 to 1. I'll have someone to kind of bounce some shame off of, or maybe he might shame me for the way I feel about this list. But we're getting into the nitty gritty, 25 to 1, like I said. So I have a feeling the top 10 is going to be a fun debate with Nick, who is back in the co-pilot seat. So good to have you back, Nick. Our second pre-record. First one felt a little weird. Hopefully this one things start to feel a bit more natural, but we all know things are always a little goofy over here at the SWTS. So how's it going?
Good, man. Good. Just got back home from a little trip to Louisiana, like you were saying, back in Austin now. Excited to talk through the list, see who's on here, see who may be misplaced, left off, wherever. We'll see where it goes, but yeah.
It's a wild one, man. I mean, just last week, case in point, why this list has been kind of making the rounds through content creators in the Star Wars land, but Nick, they had Babu Frick ranked higher than K2SO. So that's all I'm saying with this list. You know, to each their own. The Empire team that cooked this up, they're apparently super fans, and you know, they clearly have different takes on which characters should be where or who should even be on the list. But when you're ranking Babu, Mr. Hey Now, over K2SO, there's a little shame to be thrown at whoever's creating this list. So like I said, once we get to it on this episode, we will be breaking down their rankings from 25 to 1. And I'll tell you right now, I'll just tease it. Number 1 to me is a head scratcher. When you think about all of the Star Wars characters we've come across since 1977, for this one to be number 1, it's like, whoa, like Nick just said. So before we get there, though, as promised, we are keeping elements of the old school SWTS live in place each week, regardless if I'm doing my solo live or if I'm recording with my homie here. So we're still going to have Ask Us Anything, which we're going to get into here in a second. Don't forget to get involved on our socials. You can even be in our Discord or just on YouTube. Look for the post, reply, and we will do our best to answer. And yes, Brittany, we are going to answer your Dave Thrawn question. Finally, I apologize for keep missing that. I'm old. I stare at clouds. I yell at them. And sometimes my brain is very mushy and cannot retain information. But I promise you, Brittany, we have got your Thrawn question in today's episode of Ask Us Anything. So just bear with me here. If you've been listening to the show for the past few weeks, or hell, forever, you know we are technically slow. We are challenged over here. We don't want to pay anybody for anything. So my aging IT ass tries to solve everything on my own using AI and Google, and here we go. We've got some tech issues, but my Stream Deck is still not functioning as advertised, even with some of the backup solutions. So when I'm saying, yeah, we're switching screens, it might take a while depending on which version of the show you're watching. But I am going to bring up the Ask Us Anything to see what the fans wanted to know this week from the greatest Star Wars podcasters of all time. All right, Nick, so here we go. There it is. This is the question that I've been lackadaisical on, my friend. So this comes from Brittany J. Taylor 2638 on YouTube. saying, well, she's chastising me, as she
Mm-hmm.
should, as she should. Typically, Nick, fans yell at me just for putting out content and my opinions. This time, Brittany is her yelling is warranted because I did forget her initial question, so she's just coming back to remind us. But Nick, I'll kind of let you dive into this because you're not familiar with this back and forth with Miss Taylor.
Okay.
But she was kind of wondering or thinking, what is Dave Filoni going to do with Thrawn in the Mandoverse? Let's say things stick to schedule, Nick, and he actually does create the crossover film that was, announced with the Dawn of the Jedi and the Rey movie. Who knows?
Yep.
But either way, I mean, we kind of figured it would be the good guys versus Thrawn as the head of the bad guys. And I think she, like some other Zahn Thrawn fans, are worried that Filoni may be the one that gets to kind of finalize Thrawn's fate in the Star Wars universe, potentially killing him off, exiling him, doing something. So I think my casual reply to her, because I'm I only know Tic Tac Thrawn and that version of him from Ahsoka and then Star Wars Rebels. The OG Zahn version, then the rebooted Zahn version, and Dave enough. So what do you think? Do you think Dave is going to let Thrawn survive the Mandoverse?
I mean, to me, especially like in the more recent reboot of Thrawn, it was always kind of his goal to essentially like do everything that he wanted to do for the Empire, have the Empire, like if the Empire were to come out victorious, then he would like use the strength of the Empire to go back to the Chiss home world and then fight against the oncoming Grisk invasion that was happening over there. So like ultimately it wasn't his plan to like hang around in the Empire for too long and then just say, hey, fuck all of my Chiss buddies, I'm just going to hang out here. He wanted to go back home.
I'm in charge now,
so
motherfuckers.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's a route that they may take with him. I mean, it's obviously going to be very interesting to see how everything plays out with Thrawn because he's entering a galaxy that is in a much different state than it was when he left. Like we're going to have to see like what his ultimate plan is because once he arrives back into the known Star Wars galaxy, he's going to be like, oh, the Empire's gone, I guess. So, and now I'm fighting against an entire, New Republic system that's already been established and out there. So I almost wonder if he may not take Thrawn off the board, AKA just kill this guy. I think that would be a little bit weird, but almost in some sort of roundabout way, try to fulfill Thrawn's ultimate goal that was established within the new Thrawn trilogy, which was, hey, I want to climb these ranks, get my shit together, and then go back and help my people. So in my opinion, I think it would be interesting if Dave and John were able to work that in some way, like come to a position where, instead of maybe just outright annihilating Thrawn, because we know that he can't be a part of the galaxy once we get to the sequel trilogy. Like there's a timeline here that we have to adhere to. Maybe they find a way to say like, all right, you have lost, Thrawn. Like you're done here. You have two choices. You can exile yourself. You can go back to the Chiss home world and we won't fuck with you anymore. You can take your little baddies with you. We'll let you guys just go. Or we'll blow your ass out the sky right now and you can just lay in pieces where you land. So
yeah, I don't see Dave killing Thrawn either. Like to me, that almost seems sacrilegious. I believe, even though it's George's original playground. In fact, it's crazy. I'm reading this book from a guest who's going to be coming on the show in less than a month. His name's Pete Fletzer. I think he runs the Star Wars Network or something. But Nick, the book's been actually pretty good. And the core, I'd say, plot of the book, I mean, it's nonfiction, but the core message Pete's trying to get across is who owns the myth? Who owns the myth of Star Wars? When it's been out for decades at this point, and there's been fan fiction this, fan fiction that, the EU made the legends and cosplay. Who does ultimately own these characters and the stories in the future? And I think that kind of plays into this. I mean, Thrawn was created by Zahn, who he did it in the EU initially, which was not blessed by George. It was not canon, but Thrawn has now been canonized. So I still think Filoni would kind of respect the true creator of the character in terms of what his final fate should be, at least living and dying. I'm kind of with Nick where I could see the exile, like, hey, go back, take your Chimera and your Night Sister army and go back and help your people. Get the fuck out of our territory. We don't really need you right now to be a thorn in our side. I could also see, and this is the exciting part about Ahsoka Season 2, if all of our speculation about the Mortis gods ranged true, and Balin was there to awaken them or awaken Abeloth, and unleash that shit upon not only Peridia's galaxy, but bring it back to the main galaxy, we could get almost a team up. You know, hey, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of shit, where Thrawn and the New Republic have to team together to beat down this threat from the Peridia galaxy.
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, that is also a possibility. I mean, I think that kind of makes the most sense given where we've left the story off, as you were mentioning. Like, and it's something that we've kind of asked for in the Star Wars galaxy for a long time, which was like, hey, why don't we get to a place where we're not necessarily focused on, like, you know, this
version of the Empire versus this version of
yeah.
the Resistance. It's like, come on.
Yeah, like, let's get to a place where we can say, hey, like, you know, there's people coming from an outside galaxy, so let's team up, let's take these guys down, and then we go about our thing in a way where that makes sense. Like, let's actually have like this super team up, and then that would lend itself to how I was kind of going with it, like super team up. Let's take down these gods. Once the gods are done, let's have an accord, shake hands. Thrawn, you go back to Chiss homeworld. You take care of whatever needs to be done. Or, hey, like, we'll come help you with that. Like, we'll send some forces over there to help you out. You helped us out. We'll help you out. You go back home. We take care of this stuff. Boom, you're gone. And that's how he exits.
It'd been wild.
So I think yeah.
Let's kind of rewrite history. But what if when we were watching the sequel trilogy, Thrawn showed up on like a capital ship of the Resistance or something? And then we had to learn through these backstories why he's there, and, you know, again, what is his end game? Because from what I know about Thrawn, he doesn't seem like he's a guy that just does the right thing just to do the right thing. It usually has to serve his ultimate goal or plan. So I don't know, but Brittany, I think when it comes down to it, Dave will not be the one that finalizes Thrawn in terms of living or dying. I just don't see that happening. All right. Next question here, young Nick. Oh, this is a big one, and it seems you. I don't want to say you struck a nerve with Bango, but I think you kind of, you know, you opened up some thoughts. So here we go. Last time you guys talked about Star Wars being for kids and how George Lucas has said that, etc. I agree it started that way, but is it a mistake for Lucas at all to continue viewing the franchise as such rather than adapting with the aging original fan base by providing different content for different age groups? I guess it would be a bit cost prohibitive to do that all the time, but given the critical success of Andor, is it reasonable to believe a feature film with an adult target audience could be a financial success?
I mean, that's what they're already doing. Like what you've described, Bango, is that is what they're doing already. They're already making content for both age groups. Like, The Acolyte's not a show for kids. It's very violent. It's one of the more violent Star Wars shows that we've seen recently.
But Nick, it's woke. How could it be violent?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, same with Andor, as you mentioned. Andor is a show that I think skews heavily adult. But here's the thing.
So, like, for movie theaters, though, do you think we could get an R Star Wars movie and it makes money, or like a hard PG-13? Because what Revenge of the Sith was PG-13, I think, but I think most are PG.
It was. Yeah, that one was a PG-13. I mean, the thing is like with an R-rated movie, I mean, with movies right now anyway, it's like it's super hit or miss, regardless of how good the movie is, if it's going to make money. Like, you know, this Smashing Machine movie is apparently amazing, but it's not making shit at the box office.
$0. It's The Rock's biggest flop of his career.
Yeah, but everybody's like, this is the best acting he's ever done in his entire
I want
career.
to watch
I
it. I
mean,
just like, I'll go see Tron. It's more built for the big screen.
yeah, and then well, that's another one, Tron, where it's like
Tanked.
this movie's getting like 90% plus on Rotten Tomatoes, and
Yep.
then but it's not going to make its money back, but that's partially Disney's fault because they spent over $220 million to make it. So what I would say is like they're already in the zone where they're making content for both angles. If you make an R-rated movie, you're naturally going to make less money because you prohibit more than half of your audience from
Do you
seeing
think
it. So like,
Andor would be rated R though, dude? It's probably still
oh,
PG-13 because unless they show blood or like hardcore violence, you can get away with a
yeah,
lot. It's more language sometimes that
yeah.
dictates harder ratings.
Yeah, I mean, and their language isn't even that hard in Andor. I think that Andor would likely end up being a PG-13 because,
Yeah.
like you said, the level of violence isn't necessarily something that like outdoes some other PG-13 movies. But yeah, I mean, like here's the thing: is like the success of a franchise long term is based off of how much you can appeal to younger age groups. Like Bango mentioned, like is it better to appeal to an aging demographic of original fans and to say original fans now is almost a misnomer because original fans are 1977 OG
Yeah, they're
OT fans,
they're
and
either
now,
dead or retired.
yeah, and like now, what is the older generation of Star Wars is typically looked at as the prequel gen, who we had the same questions about when you come around to putting out the sequel or the prequel movies. People are like, these are for kids, like these are for kids, but now look at it, they're the ones who are dictating the fandom. So it's always a strong plan to go for the younger demographic to ensure that your brand persists into
Yeah.
the next generation. As for like the R-rated content, I think you can do a mix. I think it's a good idea to do a mix, but I also think that in general they just need to reduce their spending on their movie budgets. Like
Yeah,
if
that's for
you can't
sure.
make yeah, you can't make an R-rated movie that costs $220 million. You just can't do it. Like,
Unless Deadpool's in it with Wolverine, then
yeah,
you might get by. You might make a few bucks.
yeah,
All
but
right.
yeah, I mean, I think that it's not necessarily an age thing; it's a budget thing for Disney and Star Wars at this
Yeah,
point.
and you're right. I mean, listen, I know Tron. Some critics hated it. I've even talked to some people like it was kind of dumb, but I loved it, and I thought it was fantastic. I'm sorry, I enjoyed Jared Leto. The visuals were insane. The Nine Inch Nails score maybe even better. So I
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna
rewatched
go see it
original
this week.
Tron, and that movie. Like I guess I usually watch OG Tron when I was probably few two pipe hits in or whatever, but I watched it pretty cogent yesterday, and it looks fucking great on Disney Plus. By the way, like Tron 1982, I don't know what sort of remastering they did to that, but every film from that era should do that because that shit outside of the dated just clothes and technology, dude. Tron 82 looks as HD 4K as a film from the 80s could look. Either way,
Dude, actually stoked to see that movie. Like I know that it's not doing well in the box office, but like I said,
I
from
loved
what
it,
it
man.
seems, the reviews are
I
really
loved it.
good. And it's like and here's the thing now is like your box office isn't necessarily determined by the quality of your movie anymore. It's determined by the quality of the star in it. And right now, Jared Leto's not super popular. Like
No.
people don't like Jared
Well, they
Leto.
make
Like,
fun of him because
and
like the whole
probably,
Morbius thing. Like he has the
yeah.
Morbius stink on him still.
And I mean, like he's nuts. Like he's got a cult. Like I'm pretty sure he did have a cult that was following him or whatever the fuck was going on back then. Like
He's a
but
rock star
ultimately,
too. I mean, the dude's an artist, if
yeah.
anything.
I mean, the guy had a successful band and everything, but that's kind of how it goes,
Yeah.
right? Like this guy is like this movie is great, the visuals are great, people love
He's
the
not a
score,
Tom
people.
Cruise when it comes to selling seeds.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just one of those things where it's really difficult for me to understand what makes a hit or not now. And I think that it's really hard for like studio heads to figure it out too. It's like
Yeah.
what the hell is going
Well,
on, man?
I recommend going if you can do Atmos or your best theater. we had to do 3D Dolby Atmos for it, which I guess that's the best 3D you can get. The 3D worked good for Tron, but it's still not my favorite presentation anymore. I do recommend using your favorite meds before going, because it's got some absolutely beautiful visuals. Like, this is, whoa, look at the light, that type of stuff. All right. Next up, coming from our boy Kramer, so you know it's like a 9-part question, mostly football related. In fact, we talk enough football on this that last week during the live, Lee came up with a good idea. I've been meaning to run it by you, so we might as well do it live. But she suggested you and I draft a Star Wars-based fantasy team and have them go head-to-head somehow. I was like, you know what? That's actually a pretty cool idea. We might need to use our AI to like write up a web app for us to kind of figure that out. But it would be kind of fun to have a pool of Star Wars characters that Nick and I could draft from and then build a team and then somehow figure out which team would win. All right. Sticking to football here. Are you, well, not football yet. Are you and Nick going to make your own top 50 characters of all time? Probably not, because that's a lot of fucking characters, but you never know. Covering Star Wars is a wasteland these days. There's really not much current to talk about. So if we run out of ideas, that might not be bad for a 2-part series, okay?
Yeah. I mean, we also have done the tier rankings of characters. So, I mean, that's similar to it.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things.
It just goes to show you. I mean, we could keep doing the same fucking topics over and over and over again. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, we could redo... well, hot takes you can always redo, but we could redo Starships like next week, and people would be like, "Whoa, you did that? You ranked that there?" It's like, yeah, we did it 3 months ago too. So, anyways, continuing on with the question here: thoughts on Billy Napier being fired? Listen, when you coach at a big time program, if you can't come through, especially in this day and age of nil and essentially paying the play, you're gonna get fired. I mean, look at James Franklin. Penn State was willing to eat almost $60 million in a buyout clause to get him out the door. So. Doesn't surprise me at all. I don't think Florida is at the level it used to be when Urban was there, but it's still Florida. You know, it's still a marquee blue chip type of football program. So you got to fucking win. All right. Not everyone can be Ohio State. And Ryan Day we trust. All right. And finally, Nick, do you think the Saints should start Tyler Shug? And did you guys watch the Giants and Broncos game? I caught the end of that game. It is fun watching these young quarterbacks do what they do these days. I mean, Jackson Dart, I appreciate his Star Wars fandom. I think he's probably a little goofy in other areas of life, but watching him and Scatabo together it's kind of neat, okay, to see these young guys acting like animals and actually being pretty impressive athletes. So anyways, Nick, I'll let you wrap this one up. What are you thinking about the Saints? Should they get away from the rat man and just go with the rookie? Or are you liking that Rattler finally got his first win 2 weeks ago?
I mean, I say just give this kid a shot. I mean, we're now what, 7 games into the season?
Yeah, it's over.
We're 1-6. So like, I feel like you have a pretty good idea of what Rattler's capabilities are based off of, you know, what you've seen thus far in the season. You know, you could argue that you want to give him a little bit more time to develop, but I would also say that like you spent a, you know, 2nd round pick on this guy, pretty high pick. If you want to see what he's got, see what he's got. I think that now is the time to do a lot of testing with the lineup, because obviously the Saints aren't going anywhere.
No.
We're not making the playoffs. We may end up with a super. Yeah, like just you know, I'm not saying tank, but I'm saying see what you got in Shuck, and then if it works out, then you know you don't have to waste a draft pick on a high draft pick on a quarterback. And if it doesn't work out, then you say, hey, maybe it's time to look at the QB crop in round 1 and see if we can find somebody that sticks. Amen. So that's kind of my thought process.
Amen.
There.
I'll tell you, he usually asks me about the Steelers. Maybe it's because they played Thursday night, and I already let him know that I hate their guts. But I have been surprised by Rodgers. Okay, I still don't appreciate him as a human, but I have been surprised at his gameplay performances. And I do think it was the defense that completely failed them this third. It was embarrassing what Cincinnati did to them. All right. I think we got maybe one more here. Mando Pirate. Nick, how do you feel about the Bears beating the Saints? Bear down.
I mean, it wasn't surprising. It wasn't surprising.
Nick's not me,
like,
people. You're not going to get him fired up.
yeah.
Okay.
Like you're not gonna get like I went into this season and I was like, if we win 3 games, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, so
like
Nick's like, fuck, we're a third of the way to my goal. Life is good.
yeah, I'm like, hey man, like we end up getting if we get a top 5 draft pick, I'm happy. I mean, this is this is the way I think about the Saints. It's Kellen Moore's first time in a head coaching position. This is this coaching staff's first time coaching together as a cohesive unit. You're pulling in a lot of different people from a lot of different places. This is Spencer Rattler's first time being the starting quarterback from the beginning of the season. We have injuries on our offensive line, and I was basically like, if we can beat 3 NFL teams, I would be surprised. And so far, we've beaten 1. And we're 2 away from exceeding my expectations. Right. I'll just put it that way. But
there you go.
We'll see.
Again, Nick's not like me. You can't come at him and get an over the top reaction. But I applaud you all for trying. Go ahead and keep it up. Thanks again. Like I said, we do Ask Us Anything every week. Doesn't matter if we're live solo or doing a pre-record. Just make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, Discord, YouTube to get the prompt, and then you lay down the question and we most definitely will answer it if it gets submitted. All right, man. Well, it's time to get into that main segment of the day. We are going to go ahead and finish analyzing, if that's what you want to call it, Empire's 50 greatest Star Wars characters ever. All time, whatever you want to say. They picked 50. I went through 50 through 26. There was definitely some curious choices. I threw some shame left and right at whoever made this list last week because, some of them are silly. like I said, I mean, Babu Frick being ranked higher than K2SO. Kanan and Thrawn being ranked in the 40s. It's like, really? Really? Those guys? Admiral Holdo making the list at all? Akbar being late in the 40s, you just don't know. So that's why Nick and I are here to tell you what you should know and how to think and how you should process Empire's list. All right, so picking up from last week, they had Asajj way at the end, Nick. I found that to be silly. Neil at 49, that was silly. K2S, so you get it. There's some really silly choices from 50 to 26. But I think things are going to get even squirrelier now that Nick is here, and we're going to start breaking down the top 25. So I'm scrolling through there. We're almost to our starting point. We ended with Boba Fett last week, and I said if it was Bozo Fett, yes, he should be at 26. But the new Boba Fett at 26, that seemed to be a slight. So who shows up at 25? Look at that. They're already saying that Jabba the Hutt is a bigger all-time character than Boba Fett himself. So I'll let you go ahead and start this one off, but that seems a little silly having Jabba the Hutt at number 25.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just break it down into like how much content each of these characters appear in, I mean, at this point, it does seem a little silly. It does seem a little silly to put Jabba ahead of Boba, especially taking in the Mandoverse content, regardless of your thoughts on Book of Boba Fett. Like, this character has taken on a new kind of ambiance around him. And look, I think that if I'm being completely honest, I think that probably Boba Fett should be much lower in this count, and maybe even Jabba be a little bit higher. Maybe Jabba's in the 30s. I mean, obviously he was an iconic villain that people will remember for a long time, but he did have. You think he's warranted?
He's warranted for a top 50, right? Like, or should he not even be on this list?
I think he should definitely be in the top 50.
Yeah, I mean, come on, he's a big space slug. He's essentially a mob boss.
Just a really cool creation of a character for sure. But I think that ultimately there are characters who probably deserve to be in the 25 and lower spot over him.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I mean, just Boba Fett, Grand Moff Tarkin to me should probably be there. I mean, Padme at 28
was a crime. That was criminal. That's off. One of those shame, shames for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think Jabba definitely has a place on this list just for being a villain in movies and all the decades of people. I mean, most people, if you showed them a picture of this fat slug, they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's Jabba the Hutt. Or they'd at least say Pizza the Hutt. They would get the cultural references. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. He's way too high on this list, meaning low. He should be probably in the 30s, maybe
Yeah.
low 40s. All right.
That's what I was going to say. Like mid to high 30s is where my initial lean was. I mean, I understand that he is a iconic OT character, but I don't think 25 is the
Okay.
right spot for him.
I will tell you, I think something we are going to do eventually on these pre-records is Empire did a great thing for people like you and I, and they included an iconic quote of every 50 characters. So I think at one point you and I need to then go through the quotes and rank those
because I was looking at this next one and I was like, that's the quote that you pulled for this guy?
Yeah.
Like,
so anyways, Nick, let's go ahead and talk about this guy. Coming in at number 24, we have Finn, FN 2187, played by John Boyega, clearly one of the stars of the sequel trilogy. But like most characters in the sequel trilogy, his path was not. It did not follow a straight line. It went this way, it zagged that way, then it tried to come back this way. And really, like I said, like Rey, like Poe, Finn himself, none of those characters really had great character development. But what do you think about Finn coming in at 24? Initially, man, I'm kind of like, for the way the character was written and ultimately what the character ended up being, I don't know if I can instantly be like, this seems off.
I mean, it seems a little high to me. I'm just gonna come out and say I don't know what the rest of this list holds yet, but I only see one prequel trilogy or sequel trilogy original character being in the top 25. And it's not Finn. I would place Finn probably in the mid 30s, maybe even the 40s. I do agree that like if his journey would have played out a little bit differently, I could see him maybe cracking this top 25 list.
Yeah.
But as it went, he essentially went from like this super interesting character that had promise, and then he kind of got shoved off in a weird direction. And then we never really found out like where he lies or what his future holds. Like of the three of Poe, Finn, and Rey, Finn was the one that felt like when it ended, we really still didn't have a solid idea of where he's going. Poe seems like he's moving up the new Republic ladder. He may be in for a general position, and then Rey is obviously on a path to restart the Jedi Order or something that looks like it potentially in the future. And then Finn, we're just like, well, Finn is Finn, right? Like he's just finning around.
He was feeling the Force and Tross. He was feeling the Force and Tross, but it didn't really ever go anywhere. So
I mean, okay. I like the character, and the last thing I'll say on Finn is that his future is unwritten. Like we've heard John Boyega kind of waffle between, I'm done with Star Wars. I'd come back if it was the right thing. I'll come back for money, blah, blah, blah. Like, these characters, especially Poe, Finn, and Rey, like we really don't know what could happen to them in the future. But I think that as of right now, I think that 24 is a bit too high of a rank for him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not even going to really retread on that. I do think he deserves to be on this list because he is memorable. He is a stormtrooper that broke the conditioning and joined the Rebel Alliance. And, he probably had the Force. Need some great moments, especially in TFA, but I'm with you. 24, way too high. I think in the late 30s is where Finn should have been. Okay, moving down to 23. Who do we have next as we're going through Empire Magazine's 50 greatest Star Wars characters of all time, of all ever? And up at 23, oh man, this seems a little off too. Goldenrod, C-3PO at 23. I don't know about that.
This is a crime. This is a crime.
This is a shame. Okay, this is Nick's first ultra shame right here. I can tell you're not liking this one, right?
I mean, if we just talk about the pantheon of Star Wars characters and purely from a content standpoint, C3PO and R2D2 are the most prolific characters in all of Star Wars, hands down. They were in all of the prequels, they were in all of the OT, they were in all
Yes.
the sequels. They are in most of the cartoon series. Like they
Yes.
pop up in a lot of, Clone Wars series. They pop up. I mean, they were in Rebels? They
Yep.
popped up everywhere. They're just prolific, and from like George Lucas himself, and like Star Wars was almost like basically you could conceive Star Wars, the original trilogy, as being seen through the eyes of these
100.
droids.
Yeah.
Like,
Lucas did say that they delivered the original trilogy.
yeah. So to have the voice of the duo, to have the one that could actually articulate in a way that we could understand, be at number 23 seems like a shame. I mean, even his story through the sequel trilogy was one of the more interesting threads,
Memory
coming,
wiped.
yeah,
He had the
like
Sith
a lot of
language
things.
in him.
Yeah, just a lot of really fun turns and twists for C3PO throughout his entire time in Star Wars history. I almost feel like whoever wrote this at Empire put 3PO here just to bait the nerds out and get us to do stuff
Get
like
you all
this, because
excited. Yeah.
I think that it's an easy argument to make that C3PO is easily a top 10 character, if not higher than
Yeah,
that.
dude. I mean, listen, I could obviously put on my OT rose tinted glasses and be like, every one of those characters is top 10 non negotiable. And I still think that's probably truthful. But C3PO in general just seems odd to be in the 20s. I mean, he should be right there in the top 10, right next to his buddy, mixed in there with the Hans, Leia's, and Luke's for sure. Because, Nick laid down all the points. I don't need to read this guy's resume again. He is a staple. He's been in everything and more. I mean, I even think this dude shows up in fucking Star Wars Resistance, man. I mean, he's
He
literally
does.
been everywhere. We just most recently saw him live action in the Ahsoka series. So this one, as Nick has expertly kind of let us understand, this is shameful. Okay, C3PO at 23 is a joke. Shame on you, Empire. Shame. All right. 22, and this is like, again, how do you put this character in front of C3PO?
Yeah.
This character should be right behind or in front of Finn, and I don't want to taint your analysis, but I think both of them should be in the 30s, if not low 40s. And I'm talking about the man himself. He is sexy looking, He is kind of suave like that. He gets himself into trouble. He's kind of a hothead. But Nick, I don't see how Poe Dameron is ranked higher than C-3PO as one of the greatest Star Wars characters of all time. It just seems silly.
Yeah, it does to me as well. I mean, of the three sequel trilogy, I think he probably had the second best story through line. I
Yeah.
mean, regardless of your thoughts on Rey, at least she had, she was the primary focus. Poe definitely went through some ups and downs in his time with the Resistance, well, New Republic and then Resistance military. I think he learned some good lessons. I think that in terms of cohesion in how his story makes sense, it probably makes the most sense. He goes from a brash flyboy similar to Han Solo, except he's wearing a military uniform instead of a smuggler's uniform, and then goes through a little bit of a bump in the road on his ascension towards the top rankings in TLJ, but learns very important lessons from Leia and from Admiral Holdo, and then in Tross he. Due to no fault of his own, says one of the most infamous lines in Star Wars
No.
history.
That should
Somehow
almost eject
Palpatine
him from
returned.
this list completely. Like, you lose top 50 just through that line. Somehow Palpatine has returned.
It's one of those things. Like, I enjoy the character of Poe Dameron, and I understand where like how his story played out. But again, based off of what we have from him now, also he's one of the only characters from the sequel trilogy that did show up in animated Star Wars through Resistance, as you were mentioning with C-3PO. So he does have a little bit more screen time than some of the other ones, but I still don't think that 22 is an appropriate place for him. I mean, like, we're talking about Boba Fett at 26 and then Poe Dameron at 22. Seems out of whack here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he just like to me, at least the way I kind of rank my characters is my own personal appreciation of them, but also you got to take into account just their contributions to the franchise. And Poe, he helped blow up Starkiller Base, and he helped kind of bumblefuck the win at Exegol, but he doesn't really have a standout moment in my mind where you're like, oh yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes. So I'm with Nick. Get him out of the 20s, move him with Finn into the 30s or 40s. Okay,
Yeah.
moving on to 21. We just recently saw her in Andor season 2. She first debuted in Return of the Jedi, just kind of as a random background figurehead. I mean, many Bothans died for this information. That was probably her most iconic line until Andor and when Genevieve kind of took her over. So if you don't know who we're talking about, we are talking about the Mon of all Mons, Mon Mothma. And this one, Nick, at 21, this one doesn't get me that fired up one way or another. I guess you could argue it's probably still a little high, but I don't know. After Andor season 2 and really kind of getting a better picture of how directly she was involved in the rise of the rebellion, and then her escape from Coruscant and her ultimate landing space on Yavin 4, Mon, in my opinion, has definitely added more cachet to her character's history thanks to Andor season 2. So I don't know if I'm upset at 21, but what do you have to say about Mon coming in at 20?
Yeah, I agree. This feels like a comfortable spot for her. I think that if this comes out before Andor season 2 and she's at 21, I'm like, are you crazy? Like this seems a little high. She might be, in the 30s, 40s area
I
because
can see that.
her resume doesn't necessarily lend to it. But I think at 21, I don't like, obviously I don't know who's in the top 20 yet, but I think for what we've seen of Mon Mothma, and then obviously the big shift that we've seen recently, specifically Andor season 2, some inclusions in Ahsoka, Andor season 1, like this feels like a comfortable zone for her. Like I could maybe see an argument that, you could maybe switch her and 3PO. Like if you wanted to give 3PO a little bit more love, but you don't want to necessarily throw him all the way into the top 10, like 21 makes a little bit more sense. And I wouldn't even be upset at Mothma at 23. So yeah, I mean, this is the first one where I'm feeling like it's an appropriate spot for this particular character.
Yeah, you make a good point. Without knowing who comes next, she seems pretty stable here. So I'm not going to start throwing out shame to Empire on this one. All right, here we go. We're moving into 20. Who comes in at number 20? No! Are you kidding me? At 20, we have my man who started as a clown in development, a nightmare fuel clown, but then ended up being one of the most iconic looking, sounding, and performing characters of all time. He's had multiple actors play him. We credit one with the physical portrayal of this character, then we credit the other one with the better voice portrayal. We're talking about my man Darth Maul. I mean, this guy, his career seems short-lived, but the maker himself was like, you know what? We need that guy back. So they resurrect this fool, put him in Clone Wars. Then he makes his way into Rebels. Right now he's getting his own series in 2026, Shadow Lord. Maul at 20, I don't know. I mean, again, it's like, well, who's coming? I can see who's at 19, and I can already tell you that Maul should be in front of this character, even though I am a fan of this little droid. But Maul being at 20, my friend, it seems too far back in the list. For me personally, 100%. I think Maul, I can make a case for him being in my top 10. He's easily in my top 3 when it comes to villains. But 20, man, that seems, I don't know, that seems possibly egregious in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about multiple live action appearances now, thanks to the little inclusion at the end of Solo.
Yep.
You could make an argument that the screen time hasn't quite added up for him yet, where it's like, you get pieces of one movie, you get pieces, like very small pieces of another movie, and then he really hits his stride in the animated series through Rebels and Clone Wars season 7 and things like that. So in my opinion, like if we're looking at a chart and it's like there's like a rising and falling number next to these characters, I think that Maul is rising, right? You know, he's climbing the ranks. He's coming down into that top 10, especially like you said with the Shadow Lord show coming out. If that's something that turns into a multi-season show, we could easily be talking about Maul in the teens and, you know, lower teens, maybe
Yeah, I
even
mean,
towards
top
that top
15
10.
at least. Top 15 at least.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot of the characters we talked about already just today don't have a famous quote. You know, if I ran into a room of Star Wars fans and went, Kenobi, they would know exactly who I was quoting, where it came from, what the scene looked like, and then what happened next. And that's why I think Maul is he's got a little more juice than 20. But hey, this isn't our list. We're just here to poke fun of it because that's what humans do. We love to shit on other people's opinions. So Darth Maul 20 seems a little high. Top 15 at least. Okay, number 19. And again, I really appreciate this character. I fell in love with this character. I was like, all right, we got another one. We had 2 from the original trilogy. They also made waves in the prequels. You always got to have droid characters in Star Wars. It just doesn't seem like Star Wars if you don't have a droid companion that stands out and ultimately ends up helping the organics win in the end. So the one I'm talking about here is BB-8, the ball droid, the first ball droid we saw. He was an instant classic as soon as he debuted in The Force Awakens. Again, I loved him. I've collected him. I have figures of him still on my desk to this day, which speaks volumes about how I feel about BB-8. But Nick, I don't know. I kind of have a hard time putting him at 19 because, like a lot of the sequel characters, they started with so much potential and hope, but because of the way the sequel was handled, you know, BB-8, you could argue just like Finn was kind of sidelined in the last, definitely in TLJ. I mean, he had a little action, but for sure in TROS. So I don't know. I think BB-8 at 19 seems a little, he's a little too low on the list. He's too high ranked, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm tending to agree with you on that. I think I think a trade that we could do here is an easy trade to me, and this would even still be a slight to the character that we're trading up for. I would do BB-8 at 28 and Amidala at 19, and then there's still a conversation for Amidala.
I still can't believe Padme's at fucking 28. Like that just is bananas to me.
Egregious. I mean, I will say that of the mains in the sequel trilogy, I think that C-3PO, I mean that BB-8 is to me higher, like, you know, a lower numbered rank than both Finn and Poe.
Oh, I think he's definitely cooler than them.
I think that BB-8 was the design of the character super fun. He had a lot of fun moments, like even
lighter.
Like
remember the lighter thumb?
The lighter thumb up. Yeah,
come on.
The little suspension where he like pops himself up. He's just like floating there while the ship's spinning around. He's got really good moments. And I do think that it's still like at 19, there's easy ones here. Like Maul should be higher than BB-8.
Easy.
Padme should be higher than BB-8.
Easier.
There's a lot of people. Yeah.
All right.
So
see you, BB-8.
I agree with you there.
Get out of our top 19. You don't belong here, but we do love you. Beep ba boo be ba wah. That's his quote, just in case you guys were wondering. Okay, coming in at 18. This is another one I feel like what?
This is a tough one.
She's been in animated movies. She's been in multiple animated series.
Actions.
Yeah, I mean, shit. She's in Tales of the Jedi, Star Wars Rebels, The Clone Wars, Ahsoka live action, Mando live action. You know who we're talking about. We are talking about one of the most interesting and unique Force users in all of Star Wars. She trained under the man himself, Anakin Skywalker, hung out with General Kenobi in his prime, Ahsoka Tano at 18. And I don't know. I mean, I guess when you think about the grand scheme of things and characters, it's like, okay, there are a lot of Star Wars characters. This is difficult to do. Yeah. But Ahsoka being at 8, Ahsoka to me feels like a guaranteed top 15, top 12 type of character. So I think she's ranked a little low here, Nick, but I don't know. I mean, do you think she should be even higher, or are you like, nah, man, bump her into the 20s?
I'm it's tough with her, right? Because if you're a hardcore fan like us, you're like Ahsoka is one of the probably the most important until recently, the most important character who had never been in live action. And then obviously Ahsoka's made her live action debut through Mando and then now through her own live action series with Rosario Dawson. It's hard to rank her though, right? Because if you think about impact and like in in comparison to her closest, people on the list, like we both agree that Maul should be lower. Should Maul be lower than Ahsoka? I mean, that's to me, that's the closest ones, right? Like Ahsoka and Maul feel like they should be almost right next to each other. And
I
they
agree
are,
with
they're
you.
20 and 18.
Yeah.
But I feel like they should both maybe they're 16, 15, maybe they're 15, 14, 15, 13, somewhere around there. I don't think that Ahsoka quite cracks the top 10, but I do think that she could maybe move down into the mid to low teens a little bit. But again, like not knowing who comes next, I can see why they're hesitant to really move her into that lower echelon, because you're starting to get to a number where it's like your icons are really starting
There
to
you
come
go.
in.
Yeah, we got some gods of Star Wars coming up. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't think she cracks the 10, maybe a few spots higher. Let's go down to 17. Uh-oh, look who it is. Why, you slimy double-crossing, no-good swindler.
This one.
Of course, it's our man, Lando Calrissian, Mr. Colt 45 himself. I don't know. I mean, listen, Lando kind of barely used it all, if you really think about it. I mean, a little bit towards the end of Empire Strikes Back. He's definitely involved in Return of the Jedi, has a big win, both helping to save Han and at the Battle of Endor. But putting Lando all the way up at 17 almost feels like a pure nostalgia rank in terms of just pure great characters. What do you think about Lando here?
I think it's so hard because like Lando is an iconic character for sure. And I think that what makes Lando hard is like he made the most with his screen time than anybody else in Star Wars, in my opinion.
Good point.
Like like you were mentioning, like he's not on screen a lot. Like he really isn't. But when Billy as Lando is on screen, all of your attention is on him, and he makes every second count. And
Lots
even
of charisma.
Donald, yeah, it's a charisma thing purely. Like, and even Donald Glover in Solo, it was another situation where it was like this character just oozes that charisma, and even though he's not on screen as much, he makes the minutes count. So I can see why you would put him in this area screen time wise. If you're like building out like a criteria to how you rank this, screen time's probably up there as one of them. He ranks low on screen time, but he ranks high on impact, right?
That's a
like,
good point.
Think about what he does. He gets Han Solo arrested. He has to essentially
freezes his ass in carbonite as a test.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even know Han would survive that shit.
Yeah, he's like, he may live, he may die, but this is what I got to do. And then he comes back, leads the charge as a general on Death Star 2, helps take it out with Wedge Antilles.
So do you think 17's like a perfect spot for him, or could you argue he should be even higher?
I feel like it's a good spot.
Yeah,
I feel like 17 is comfortable. I would give you one place higher or lower depending on who comes next. But it's hard to put him in the 20s. I feel like this is a comfortable zone.
All right. Well, here you go. You're going to find out who comes next. And it's going to be a tough one because this one...
It is.
He launched the Disney Plus era, more or less.
Yeah.
And he is super iconic. His buddy is probably ranked even higher than he is. But when we talk about this character, pretty much even most humans will know who he is or who his friend is. And we're talking about the Double D, Din Djarin, played by who knows anymore, voiced by Pedro Pascal. But I mean, like I said, he is who Disney chose to kick off Star Wars TV in general. Like Star Wars TV was not a thing until this character got his Mandalorian show. And we've watched him through 3 seasons. He's going to help usher Star Wars back in the theaters May 2026 with his little partner. And he really has become a part of the Star Wars fabric probably quicker than even some of the sequel trilogy characters, just due to how fucking cool he is, his armor, the fact that he's a Mandalorian and has this crazy creed that he follows, the Darksaber action. And, Grogu does kind of help lift his profile a bit. But I don't know, Nick, I think Din coming in at 16 feels about right, considering how new he is and how big of an impact he's already made on Star Wars as a whole.
Yeah, that's like my heart is telling me like he feels overranked, but my head
maybe
when
20. I mean, yeah, maybe 20.
Yeah, it's like the Star Wars fan in me is like there are people who are more impactful than him in Star Wars, but when it comes to like real life and how much this character has
Right.
reasserted Star Wars or helped to reassert Star Wars into the public consciousness, it's really hard to put him, in the 20s. Like he really, like he launched Star Wars TV, live action TV in a way that essentially helped to launch the entire Disney Plus streaming
I mean, they built a
platform.
universe. We all call it the Mando verse for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's unquestionable that there is a fandom that is built purely, like a section of the fandom that's built purely off of this character and Grogu. So it's hard for me to be like somebody who's like seen Star Wars for so long and intaked so many different types of Star Wars content to be like, this new guy who just showed up 6 years ago is like already cracking it. And this guy all he does is he's a bullet sponge. He just sits there.
That's right. Ding, 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 ding. Stand behind me. I will eat the laser. All right. So then at 16, it sounds like, we're not too upset there. And he probably did earn that. All right. We're about to crack the top 15. Who's it going to be? Mr. Do It himself. Sheev, a.k.a. Emperor Palpatine. This seems, at least to me, a bit sacrilegious. Where did Nick go? We just lost Nick. Hold on. Where are you? All right, hopefully Nick calls back in here. Let me switch to the solo feed real quick, and we'll pick back up here. Let's see if Nick calls back in. All right. Here he comes. I'm not hearing him, and I can't see him either. I still can't. Hold on, Nick. Let me get back to this other channel, see if you're there. You there?
Hello.
I can hear you, but we don't have video, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, my camera just, I don't know what happened. My camera is just dead. Like, I can't pull it up again. It's just gone.
All right. Well, I think we can potentially get through something here.
Yeah, I mean, I could try to do a restart and see if that brings it up, but the camera just completely bonked
Yeah,
out.
I mean, I can hear you, so I'm trying to just cover your face on the screen, or cover where you should be. See if that does anything here. I don't think it really matters. All right. I mean, we can just finish it out if you want. We'll just rip through them quicker.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I have no idea what happened. Like it just completely went out.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it just has like an X on your camera. Oh well.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, I was at 15. I'll speed. I was going to start speeding it up anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll just get through this, and I think people will still be able to hear you, and they'll just see me in a yellow square. No big deal.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right. So, Nick, coming in at 15, this one seems a little silly, but they have Emperor Palpatine. All right. I mean, Mr. Unlimited Power himself. Do it. I mean, again, he was kind of in the background in the original trilogy. We saw him a bit in Empire, but then, of course, he comes and makes his presence felt in Return of the Jedi, but a massive character in the cartoons and clearly the prequels. I mean, he is everything. I mean, he's the one that flips the galaxy upside down on its head and convinces the Chosen One to break bad. So do you think Palp being at 15 is a little sacrilegious, or are you like, yeah, you know what, fuck Mr. Do It?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get this. Like, Emperor Palpatine is the character that literally was the entire instigator to what happened in the Star Wars original trilogy, prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, as we ended up finding out, and more. So like this guy being at 15 feels like a slight for sure. I mean, he is the character that brought down everything that happened from the OT timeline to the end of the sequel timeline. This guy is the iconic villain. Like I think he ranked up there in terms of like top 5 villains of all time in like movie rankings at some point. Like having him at 15 in terms of the number, like the character ranking here seems extremely off. This feels like a top 10 character easily.
Yeah, I this is where like this list sometimes gets a little weird, and you're like, are they just messing around? Was it a bunch of kids, a bunch of old people? You just don't know. So I'm with you. I think Sheev should be top 10 for sure. All right, there we go. I got you a nice little logo covered in now. Beautiful. I just got to move it down the list so it doesn't block everything else. All right, so Nick is back at least in person for now on the horizontal. He's going to be missing from the vertical. Okay, so Palpatine at 15, silly, as were some other placements on this list, but that's why we're here. We're here to let you know how this list should have went down. This one is shame. All right, coming in at 14, we just talked about his dad at 16. We get Grogu at 14, and Patu, his quote. This one, Nick, honestly, I want you to just run with it. I don't want to say any words because I know you and Grogu kind of have your own special relationship. So what do you think about the little green guy popping in at 14 and he has yet to speak a full sentence?
Yeah, I mean, juxtaposing it to who we just talked about, Emperor Palpatine, one of the most important characters in all of Star Wars history, not just through the movies, animated. I mean, we're talking animated series and a lot of other stuff. It feels like Grogu should not be higher rank than Emperor Palpatine. I'll just put it that way.
That's for
like,
damn sure, dude.
I mean, it seems absurd that he is ranked that high. In my opinion, I would probably do Din 20, Grogu 19 because of the impact that they've had and the immediacy of the impact that they've had. I understand that Grogu is basically what the younger generation of Star Wars characters have attached themselves to. Like he is what brought in that group of people. But I think when you're talking about iconic Star Wars characters, one that does not immediately come to my mind is Grogu. I understand that there's still story left to tell with him.
Nick hates
and
Grogu,
I understand I understand that he is a fun little character to bop along with, but I just don't see how he is above Maul. I don't see how he is above Ahsoka Tano. I don't see how he's above Emperor Palpatine. Like it just seems egregious to have these characters that have had the impact that they've had in the Star Wars galaxy ranked, lower than Grogu.
Yeah, Nick, so, this guy, and listen, I clearly have a few more positive feelings for Grogu than you, but I'm with you. I think Grogu is only getting by on his cultural impact. On pop culture alone, not for who he is or what he did within Star Wars. And his story is unwritten. He might do some pretty magical things that make us go, damn. And he already has. I mean, he definitely has a few magical moments under his belt, but to say he's greater than a Palpatine or a Maul, I'm with you. He should be a little higher up on the list. All right. This one to me is like, why are we even doing this anymore? Like number 13.
Yeah.
I do not understand what these people were doing with this list. I'm not even going to hype this guy up. We're talking about the guy that Star Wars is about. I mean, George Lucas, at least the first 6, said these movies are about a character known as Anakin Skywalker who becomes Darth Vader. So to have Anakin fucking Skywalker at 13 almost completely, if not definitely, invalidates this entire exercise.
Yeah, I mean, this is disgusting, egregious, just like slap.
Stupid.
Like I don't
it makes
even,
no sense.
It literally like this is a troll job by Empire just purely to get the geek rage out of Star Wars fans. I mean, like this, like all of the Star Wars saga movies, all of the numbered movies are essentially in some way or another about Anakin Skywalker. Like,
Yes. Hell, even the
even into
sequels,
this,
his grandson is like, doing weird shit with his helmet.
yeah, like the entire impetus for the fall of Kylo Ren is based off of Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader, like wanting to fulfill what Darth Vader was unable to do. Like it is egregious in every way. He's the star of not only two sets of movies, the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. He's also the star of all of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And you can argue that his impact is what led the sequel trilogy to be about what it was about. Like the model of the First Order was modeled off of the Empire that he helped to lead in some way.
Yeah,
it's just,
I don't know how you separate the two characters, because Darth Vader better be in the top 10 somewhere, if not top 5. But to me, they are one and the same. Like this whole splitting his alter ego out makes no sense to me. I mean, even when people to this day ask me, "Hey Matt, who's your favorite Jedi?" I really have to be like, you know what? It's Anakin. And I was not a fan of Anakin in the prequels, but I can still understand who Anakin Skywalker was, what he becomes, and then what he returns to. Anakin, Lord Vader, Darth Vader, reborn Anakin, they're all the same character to me. So I don't know why they decided to separate him and put Anakin at 13 and his alter ego, I'm hoping, is higher than 13. But it's dumb. Okay, it's just dumb. They're one and the same. They should get the same ranking regardless of which version of the character. Because Anakin was still in that goddamn suit. All right, it was still Anakin Skywalker. Okay, so Anakin at 13, absolute nonsense. All right, here we go. Going on to 12. Oh my God.
Yeah,
things are just getting dumber the closer we get to the top 10, Nick. Because you and I, we already kind of popped off on his walking and 6 million forms of communication talking partner. But you got to argue R2 is even more impactful than C-3PO, and just because he talks and beeps and boops doesn't mean he didn't contribute as much as his gabby pal. So this is another one. R2 at 12. I mean, both droids. Just put them together if you have to, Empire, and put them in the top 10 for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, it's kind of this is hard to me to just be like you're putting one of the most iconic Star Wars characters outside of the top 10. It's ridiculous. I mean, him and 3PO should be back to back in terms of ranking, and they should both be within the top 10. R2D2 is a character that has like changed the entire, like literally without R2D2,
there's no
in TPM,
Skywalkers.
Star Wars doesn't exist.
Yeah,
it's over. Star Wars ends.
Thank you.
Because Amidala's ship gets blown up and then it's over. It's just done.
Yeah. Anakin keeps cleaning parts in Watto's shop.
Yeah, like he saves literally every main character's life in every fucking trilogy.
At least once. At
least once. He saved Luke. He saved Anakin and Padme. He saved the sequel trilogy. He saved Rey, like in the sequel trilogy.
Dude, all of them. Like literally, if you just think about it, in every movie, R2 more or less saves the day before the humans save the day, in quotes.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't understand this at 12.
Let's keep going, man. Fuck. Who do they have at 11 then? I mean, come on. Cassian.
I mean, this one, it's just like you're starting to get into recency bias is what's happening.
Thank you for saying that, because I didn't know the proper words, but that is recency bias. You nailed it, because I love this guy. Cassian definitely has grown on me, especially Andor Season 2 really kind of pushed him over the top and finally got me to be like, you know what? I really appreciate this Star Wars character so much so I am going to buy the hot toy version of him, which says something, at least from my fandom. If I'm willing to buy a $250 to $300 doll to remind me of this character and kind of how they made me feel when I watched him, they're pretty important to me. But I'm with you, dude. Like Cassian at 11 is 100% because Andor Season 2 came out a few months ago.
Yeah, exactly. Like obviously this character he's been in a movie, he's been in Rogue One, wasn't even star of Rogue One. He was second lead of Rogue One. It's a cool character, it's an impactful character, especially in the most recent times. I'm talking about the most recent
Yeah, yeah,
times
season
because
2, because even season 1, he's kind of like a weenie, doesn't want to do anything until he finally, gets forced into it.
yeah, so I mean to me like this character is I you know I mean, I don't even know where I'd put him. Like I'd put him in the high 20s probably. Like he's a character that
Yeah,
has impact, but like I don't consider him somebody who should even be in the teens or even the low 20s. I mean, he had an incredible run in Andor, and what he did in Rogue One was also pretty cool, but like this is purely recency bias. Like
yeah.
if this was written in the beginning of 2024, we'd be like casting Andor at 11. Are you are you out of your like no way.
Yeah, it doesn't dig the guy, but 11's way too high. So let's get into the 10, and maybe we hopefully they're not goofy enough that we can't just kind of rip through some of these. So all right, Cassian, sorry, we love you, but it's too soon. 11 is too soon for you. All right, you need to let it stew a bit. Ray at 10 is interesting.
This is a tough one too.
Yeah, because I mean, listen, I was drawn to her enough after TFA that I decided to give my kid her middle name. I mean, literally, my kid's middle name is Ray, Rey. So, but like a lot of the sequel characters, she kind of went this way, that way, zigged, and when she should have zagged, and she ends up being a Palpatine, and I don't know, felt kind of weird by the end of Tross. I am all the no, not even I am all the Jedi, but I'm Ray Skywalker, all that stuff. So I don't know, man. I think it's too high. I do. I think Ray is too high at 10, maybe top 15, 20 at best. With really, Ray, Finn, Poe should have been bang, 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 probably in the 20s or 30s.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think that like if you do, you know, 25 for Finn, 24 for Poe, 23 for Ray, it makes sense. I think that that is a completely acceptable level for all of those characters. Obviously, there is a lot more content that Ray could be in, and if we ever get the movie that she's slated to be in, then that could potentially move her position. But like
Yeah, right.
10 on this character feels insane to me, especially when you have R2D2 at 12
Yeah,
and you have
geez.
Anakin Skywalker at 13. It is.
And this is not misogyny. It's not hate because she's a girl or she's a Mary Sue. I loved Ray. I think she earned everything she got. It's just it's too high. It's just too high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And call us boomers all you want because we want the older characters higher, but like I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel right for Ray to be at 10 when we're talking
Yeah.
about the characters that we're talking about, especially at
Without
12
the
and
base,
13 and
man.
15 for Palpatine.
Yeah. Without the base, none of these characters ever come to see the light of day. So let's get down to 9. It's Mr. Hello There himself, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know, Nick. At 9, I don't think I can. I'm not that upset with Kenobi being at 9. He's not even like one of my favorite Jedi. I mean, I love him. I love Ewan McGregor, but for whatever reason, Kenobi has just never been like someone that I'm like, yeah, I fucking love Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Kenobi homer. I think that when you look at Star Wars and what's been presented to us, like Kenobi is the stalwart icon of the old school Jedi, right? Like when you look at like the characters that come before and after him, it feels like when you think about the like what is a Jedi, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like you can say it's Yoda, you can say
Very
it's Mace
true.
Windu, whatever. But like when I think about like what makes a perfect Jedi, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi because Obi-Wan Kenobi is not so like hard line like Yoda where he can't be like maybe there's another way, but he's also not like wild and crazy like Anakin where he can just go completely off the rails. Like he feels like what the platonic ideal of a Jedi is. And to me, I think like I would like to see him a little bit lower on the rankings. Like I'd like to see him maybe a little bit closer to 5, if not 5 itself. But I mean, I'm glad he's
Okay.
in the top 10. I'd like to see him a little bit lower. I would field arguments for the latter, but yeah, I mean, it feels okay. It
All
feels
right.
okay, but I'm a bit of a Kenobi homer.
Yeah, he's definitely top 10. I'm not going to fight you on that. I mean, top 5, I don't know. I don't know. Not my personal top 5, but I top 10 for sure. So who we got at 8? Chewbacca. Chewbacca at 8. You know what? That ain't bad. That's not bad for the
Yeah,
backy. I just saw
yeah.
the character that's in front of him. I'm kind of like, huh? But Chewbacca with a "rawr, rawr, rawr" as his quote. I'm good. I'm good with this.
Yeah, I mean Chewbacca being at 8, I'm not going to argue here. I think that Chewbacca is a fun character that really like when you watch the OT and then you realize that Chewbacca is one of the main characters, it gives you an idea of what you can expect from this galaxy. Like, okay, we have 3 human characters as our mains, but we also have this big walking carpet, as Leia put it, as one of the main characters as well, and it really grounds it in what Star Wars is. Like, I think that um Chewie lasting through all of, like essentially being there for as long as he has. I think that he deserves to be at 8. I think that's a solid spot for him.
Yeah, I mean he's 100% a top 10 character. I think 8 is a good slot for him. Now 7 is one I can't do it. Kylo Ren at 7. While yes, I agree in terms of the sequel trilogy, he was the most fleshed out and actually had a character arc where the others really didn't, if you think about it. But putting Kylo at 7 just makes no fucking sense to me whatsoever. I cannot agree with this. I think he should be in the 20s just with all the other sequel characters, Nick.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you like him too, but do you like him enough to have him in your top 7?
No, no. I mean, I definitely agree with all your points. I think he's the best of the sequel trilogy characters. I think that he is grossly overrated at 7. I mean, I want to like this character. I really do. Like, I want to like him at 7, but I just can't. Like,
It's hard.
I think that you could even argue that you
Anakin at
do.
13, this guy's at 7.
Yeah, I mean that is just egregious and disgusting. Like, I would even say that like if you do Finn, Poe, Ray in a row, you could even skip 2 and then put
Yeah,
Kylo just
sure.
to rank him higher. But I think at 7, it's egregious. I think that he's a character that had a really good base. I think he's a character that had the best storyline through line of the sequel trilogy. But putting him at 7
It's silly.
is egregious.
Absolute silliness. All right. We're just going to move on from that because it's getting me upset.
I want to
Number
see what you say about this one.
Okay. And I know why you said that. And we're talking
Yeah.
about my man Luthen Rael, who literally still has the best monologue in all of science fiction, in my opinion. But Nick, that does not, absolutely does that not warrant you getting ranked at number 6. Luthen Rael at 6 is silly. Okay? Skarsgård, fucking, he's a dude. He's fantastic. I do love this character. I think he's amazing. He is the true godfather of the Rebel Alliance. I loved how his journey ended, and it didn't quite end the way he wanted, or it did. I mean, he's the one that told us like he would never see the fruit of his labor. But Nick, having Luthen at 6, no. So you're not gonna. I'm not gonna fight for this. I mean, Luthen to me. Hell, you could put him in the 30s and I'd be all right. I think he deserves to be in the top 50, but top 6, absolutely not.
Yeah, it just feels again like
Recency
it's
bias
recency.
again.
Yeah. It's just there's so much recency bias here. I mean, he's a great character and he has a lot of impact, and clearly like we now know who the godfather of the rebellion was, but I think in terms of like in the pantheon, like we're getting to a point to where like top 4 is what you would consider your Mount Rushmore of characters, right? Like
Thousand.
and like he's right outside of it. I just don't
No.
see it yet. And it's like we see we see his full arc, right? Like there was nothing that would come before when we were introduced to him in Andor that would like raise or lower his standings if there was more content made about him pre-Andor, because he was essentially just a soldier. And like yeah, I mean, like I could see him, like, even if you wanted to put him in front of, like, Finn Poe Ray, if you say like he's 24 or something like that, I just can't see how
No.
this character is 6. It
No,
doesn't make any
he does
sense.
not deserve top 10, let alone the top 6. And, I hate to throw shade at Luthen because I really do love him. I mean, yeah, if we're talking character moments or character speeches, some of the best dialogue ever spoken by a character, sure, he's top 10, if not top 5, top 3. But overall characters, absolutely not. We're about to move into the 5 position, so 1 through 5, if you're just tuning in now. We're going through Empire Magazine's 50 greatest Star Wars characters of all time. This is part 2. I did 50 through 26 last week. Check it out on the channel. Nick and I have been going through 25 to 1, and we're about to hit the top 5. And I have a feeling shit is going to go off the rails here. Yoda at number 5. And I don't know, like, it's a tough one because he is Yoda, and it's another thing like Grogu, where you could go to any Tom, Dick, or Harry on the street and be like, who's this thing? And they'd probably start talking backwards or call him Yoga or Yogi or get very close to it. So Yoda, again, from a pop culture standpoint, massive. I mean, he stands out because of the way he looks and the way he talks. And he does have some great quotes. But me just looking at my own fandom, I don't know what it is with Yoda. He's just never been high on my list. I like him as Hobo Yoda when he's all cracked out stealing Luke's meat sticks. But after that, I mean, outside of some great quotes, he's just he just kind of pontificates and then dies. So Yoda to me, Nick, is a little high for top 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to see, like, if I go up, I'm like,
I'd put Kenobi in front of Yoda on my personal list.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought was too. It's like it almost needs to be like Yoda 6, Kenobi 5. I do think that Kenobi is a more impactful character in Star Wars. I think that Yoda is a more well-known character, as you were saying. I think that more people probably who are unaffiliated with Star Wars or don't know much about it know Yoda over Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I do feel like Kenobi deserves to be 5 over Yoda. I just like even bringing in recency bias, I think that Kenobi should be higher.
Yeah, listen, I feel bad. Like it hurts me to kind of talk shit about some of the OGs, but Yoda, I just top 10. Okay, we could probably argue that. Top 5, I don't think so. So here we go. Moving to 4, Leia Organa Skywalker, Senator General, coming in at 4. It is tough, Nick, because, I mean, at this point, you got to figure Han's still out there, Luke's still out there, and like I said, I think they separated Vader from Anakin, so Vader's still out there. So
yeah.
Knowing those 3, Leia being at 4, how's that make you feel? I mean, I can't get too upset. I would argue, I know who's at number 1, so I don't want to spoil that for everyone. In my own personal list, I would put Leia in front of who we're going to reveal at number 1 here in a little bit.
Yeah, this is a tough one, right? I think that Leia is not only an icon, like this is where it is. She's like
massive,
like I was saying, this is
Princess freaking Leia.
Yeah, it's the Mount Rushmore, so it's like now you're just kind of jockeying for position among the 4. But Leia is not only an iconic Star Wars character, she's one of the first true female, like, standalone heroes. Like, Leia is a female film icon. And Carrie Fisher is one of these characters. Like, Carrie Fisher is one of these actresses that is going to, like, live in the pantheon of, like, of heroines for as long as the lists are 100%. Made. And it's like, it's tough because, I mean, I almost feel like Leia is 3 or 2 to me, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of where I feel like.
Yeah, she's top 3 for sure. So let's see what these assholes put as the top 3. All right, scrolling down here to number 3. There he is, bringing in bro. Okay, Leia 4, Luke at 3. So I'm telling you right now, people, if you don't know who's at number 1, you should start going, what the hell is going on with this list? We've got the Skywalker twins on Mount Rushmore, but so far ranked behind Han Solo. Maybe Han didn't even make the list. But come on. I mean, Luke at 3. I don't know.
It
Honestly, man, it little boy Matt, 100%. Luke Skywalker, he's maybe number 1. He's definitely top 2 over Leia. So I don't mind Luke being in front of Leia, but them being behind who I know is at number 1 still kind of bothers me a little bit. I mean, this is Luke fucking Skywalker.
Yeah. Again, it's like it's such a matter of opinion at this point, and it really does come down to like who you favored when you were watching the movies when you were kids, and we're
Yeah, it's
talking
a good point.
OT specifically here. Like, but yeah, I mean, like if you look at Star Wars, like a lot of people just say like, oh, Luke Skywalker is Star Wars. Like you talk about, you say
Right.
Star Wars, but Luke Skywalker,
I mean,
Star
people
Wars.
people
Like,
wanted to
yeah,
burn the franchise down after he was portrayed in a way they didn't think he should be portrayed in The Last Jedi. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like
that's not my Luke. Hell, even Luke himself is like, that's not my Luke.
yeah, like Mark
That's
Hamill
Jake.
was
That's
so
Jake
upset by it. It's
Skywalker,
just,
man.
it feels odd to have him at 3. I think that he should be 1 or 2
Yeah.
easy, and
All right.
like, yeah, I don't even know.
Let's see what they did.
It's
Let's
tough.
see what they did with 1 and 2. Because, like I said, I mean, their number 1 just, it's mind-boggling to me. So we're leading up to it. We're gonna stop at 2 on the way, and yes, as guessed, here he is, Darth Vader himself. So, like I said, this should be Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker, or Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. I don't know how you separate these two out and rank one at fucking 13 and the other one at 2. It's just stupid to me. In fact, you could argue that Darth Vader at 2 is stupid. Darth Vader probably should be number 1. He should be the lead face on the Star Wars Mount Rushmore, for Christ's sakes. I mean, I think my man's going to agree with me on that statement, but let's see what he has to say about Vader's placing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you had any other villain in Star Wars in the OT, it just doesn't have the impact that, like, if your face villain for the OT is Palpatine, it does not become what it becomes.
No.
Like Darth Vader, to me, it should be Vader, Luke, Leia, 1, 2, 3. Like that's my 3.
Yeah, keep it in the family, man. How we might as well bring Mom down there at 4.
Yeah, I mean, but
Pirate Padme.
Like I can't, I don't understand how he's not number 1, because even in this, like they said, one of the greatest movie villains of all time. Like,
yeah,
I just don't understand how he's not 1. Like, it's hard to be upset that a character is ranked the second best character of a franchise, but like for Darth Vader, it felt like, okay, we know the start of the list, number 1 is Vader, and then you just
go from there.
It shifts. Yeah,
I mean this guy's like number 1 movie villain across all genres, according to some lists. So placing him at 2 in his own film franchise seems a little odd. So let's just do it, man. I'm gonna rip the scab off. I've known this for a while. It's one of the reasons I wanted to go through Empire's list and kind of pick it apart. Or we did agree with some of it. But this is one I absolutely cannot agree with at all. Bringing in Mr. Flyboy Han Solo as the number 1 overall greatest Star Wars character ever for all of time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think you probably have to throw Han on the Mount Rushmore, so he should be in the top 4. But him taking the top spot over Vader, the Skywalker twins, Grogu even. No, I'm just kidding. It's like this makes no sense to me. I appreciate Han. I've always liked Han. Obviously, we all love Harrison. But Han was Han. I mean, he was kind of the reluctant hero. He never really fully wanted to be there. He just did it to get in Leia's pants ultimately. He was even ready to give that up by the end of Return of the Jedi. When Luke did all this, he's like, I get it. I'll let you guys fuck finally. And she's like, no, I love you. I don't know, man. Like, love Han. Great character, highly memorable, some killer lines. Some of it was ruined through Greedo shooting first, but Han at 1 just seems off, completely off, like almost invalidating the whole list off.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you can say to like try to justify this is that he is the only individual character that's had his own spin-off movie with Solo. And like you could say, like, you can look at box office on Solo and try to argue with me. If you watch that movie, you know that that movie is really good. Like that movie is fantastic. It's fun to watch. I think that Han sits at 3 or 4. I think that
Yeah,
that's
that's
probably a
fine.
better position for him. I think that again, to me, my top 4 is it's Vader, Luke, Leia, Han. That's my top 4. And like like on a specific day, you may be able to talk me into like Han 3, Leia 4, but I think that the appropriate
You
ranking is
sexist.
Vader. Yeah, no, the appropriate ranking is Vader, Luke, Leia, Han. I think
Yeah,
that
that's
is
it. Nick
easy.
Nick just solved the problem. He laid it down. That's how the top four should have went. I mean, Han being at one is it's a head scratcher. All right. I mean, I don't get it. I'm not even gonna read their paragraph and why they justify him being at one. But I don't see it, which makes this whole list silly. Which makes us breaking it down even sillier. But welcome to the internet. That's what we do. All right, my friends, so we just completed our full tour of Empire Magazine's top 50 Star Wars characters of all time. Part 1 last week, just myself. This obviously being part 2. So make sure to check it out. Let us know who is your top 3, top 4, top 5. It doesn't matter. Drop a comment on this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you really want to join the party, become a channel member. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up quickly with a expedited fan segment. We do them every show. You just got to get involved. We've got Question of the Week where we put out a question. You have to respond to it, and we'll put up what you said. So, Nick, let's go ahead and see what the fans had to say this week about the question. We asked them, hey, who would you rank at number 1 in a top 50 Star Wars characters of all time list?
Yeah. So kicking it off, we got Mando Pirate saying Din Djarin. We've already said our piece on Din, but Mando Pirate putting him there at number
At
1 on his
number 1,
personal list.
he definitely likes that
Crazy.
armor, that's for sure.
That's right. Crazy. Next up, we got Mac122198. Michael Kramer says Darth Revan. I mean, Revan didn't make the top 50. I can see if you're a big homer of the KOTOR games, you put it up there.
I
But
mean,
it's
look
a
alone,
tough.
he's top 50.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that dude looks like a
Oh yeah.
badass. I love Revan.
Looks cool as fuck for sure. Geek Toys Art says Darth Maul,
Whoa,
number
all
1
right,
of
all right.
all time.
He will be upset with this list then.
He will be upset. Veer Melior says Emperor Sheev Palpatine, a self-centered homicidal maniac hiding under the mask of a caring gentleman.
Veer will be upset too.
He will be upset too. Mando Mugshot says Anakin Skywalker, aka
See,
Darth Vader.
he gets it.
Yeah, all as one, as it should be. But hey,
Thank
on
you.
this list, you have 2 spaces for those 2 characters.
Apparently.
Mando Mugshot. Next up, League of Extraordinary Sixthers. She says R2D2 because he ain't no snitch.
Nice.
And hey, look, R2D2 because he's basically the guy who told the Star Wars story.
He's the reason for the season. So I mean, he keeps all the meat bags alive, and then he allows us to relive their tales through his retellings of the great adventures of the far, far away galaxy. All right, so that wraps Question of the Week. Now we're moving into our top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. The way to get mixed up in this one is all through Instagram. Make sure you're using hashtag Star Wars Time Show. But more importantly, if you want to be included for the top 5, we need you to add tag at StarWarsTime.show. Then one of us, depending on the week, will go through and pick our 5 favorites.
That is right. So kicking off the top 5 this week, we have Kubus the Photographer. Kubus the Photographer has given us an awesome look at we have Luminara Unduli. We got a Jedi Temple Guard fighting against Darth Maul.
Yeah, it looks like they're chucking Maul somewhere.
Yeah. It looks like the combined powers of Luminara and this Jedi Temple Guard, who is in full garb, mask and all, yellow double-sided lightsaber, ignited and ready to go.
Yeah, it's
good looking figure. Good looking shot here from Kubis, the photographer. Make sure to check them out on Instagram.
Boom.
All right, next up, we have Cal Rowe.
Got a mashup.
Cal Rowe Debro. I love it. Yes, good mashup here. How to Train Your Mando is what it's called. And what we have here is a Mandalorian fighter. I don't think that's Din himself, but a Mandalorian fighter sitting on the back of Toothless the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, it's a cool looking shot here for sure. And I'll tell you this, if Mando's rode in to battle on the backs of dragons, that would be some of the most badass shit you can imagine. It looked
pretty rad. Yeah, no, this is a great shot from Calro_Debro. So make sure to check him out on Instagram. And the next one. Oh, another mashup. You're getting all mashy
another
this
mashup.
Week.
Love it. I love the mashups. We got Indiana Jones mashing up Star Wars. And what is he doing? Indy is in the temple from Raiders of the Lost Ark, finding a box with a lightsaber in it. It does exist, an ancient, sophisticated weapon from a more civilized time. Awesome shot here from Articulated_Plastic. Great use of the Indy diorama and great use of the lightsaber effects there to make this one pop.
Yeah, it looks good from Articulated_Plastic on the gram. Up next.
That is right. Up next, we got Kill Cutter Photo, one of our favorites here at the Star Wars Time Show. And this is a little not BTS, but this is a little alternate shot here where we see Han in the frozen wastes of Hoth. He has cut open his Tauntaun pal, and now he's pulling out the guts, and you see Han just holding up some entrails of this Tauntaun. Like, what am I supposed to do with this shit, man?
I thought they smell bad on the outside.
On the outside.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just love him. I mean, it's literally Han holding intestines. It works, man. You had to clear a room, right? You couldn't just jam Luke in with all that wormy looking shit. So this is what happened after Han made the slit into the Tauntaun's gut.
Exactly. This is the what you didn't see from that scene. So Han holding up some Tauntaun guts, making the top 5 from Kill Cutter Photo. Make sure to give him a follow on the gram. And then here it is, the two characters that should not be separated from each other.
See, they're the same.
That's right. This is Geek Toys Arts here. And we see Vader and Anakin prostrate on his knees before Vader looming over him.
He's crying too. You see that? Anakin has tears.
That's right. Anakin crying at the fate that would befall him at the end of Rots, the full fall to the dark side, fall to his knees, fall to the dark side as Anakin Skywalker becomes one and the same with Darth Vader, played out here in a beautiful shot from Geek_Toys_Arts on Instagram.
That's right. I appreciate Geek Toys Arts for at least spelling it out to those that don't know that Anakin and Darth Vader are the same character. Thank you.
That is right. That is right. So, hey, that's the end of the top 5, and that's the end of our show for this week. Thanks for sticking around and listening to us just rip Empire a new one for their top 50 list, specifically the top 25 in this one.
So. It was silly, but it was fun breaking it down with young Nick, even though I've been talking to a disembodied voice for the last 30 minutes or so. Hopefully everything plays out so this episode is not a mess to produce for all you to listen to. And hey, those of you that are watching on the instant premiere, hey, I see you. I might even be in the chatting along with you all. You never know, because that's how we roll with these pre-records. So don't forget, next week I'll be back doing a solo live on Wednesday. It's going to be October 29th, which is Visions Volume 3 release day. So I think to get ready for Nick and I breaking them down the following Monday, I'm going to go ahead and potentially talk about my favorite Visions episodes so far to kind of like tease us into our review and breakdown of Visions Volume 3. So that's what Nick and I will be doing the next time we're together. But before that, like I said, we'll have a little Matt Solo reminiscing on visions of the past. All right, my friends, you know how to do it. We are on Spotify now, still on our old podcast platforms, but our main profile page for the show is going to be on Spotify. Of course, we always got the videos on YouTube. Don't forget, there's always time for Star Wars time. Keep telling your friends, your moms, your sisters, your dads, your dogs, your lizards, we could always use some more fans because, as you know, they will soon know that when you listen or watch the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you always. Hey everyone.